उषा मैम,
हाँ बोल बोल।
पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट।
हाँ अरे वाह वाह, क्या बनाया?
अचार।
वाव। Fatma, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
Good, good. Do you have work from home or how is it?
No, I have work from home.
Okay, okay. Lab नहीं है अभी?
No, I completed everything yesterday. Publication working now.
All right. Good, good, good. उर्मिला शुरू करना, 11 बज गए।
हाँ वही, चलो जस्ट स्टार्ट।
Okay, ma'am. Okay, I'll start. Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody can hear my voice. Okay, so respected principal, teachers, and my dear students, I extend a welcome to all for today's seminar. I hope all are in good and safe. Well, today in this crucial time when things are uncertain, our department has come up with a series of lectures that motivate and guide you to your future. So beginning the second seminar on the series Anubhav Ke Bol, Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's Ram Niranjan Jhunjhunwala College would like to invite a guest for today, the alumni of MSc batch of 2018, Ms. Fatma Islahi. She completed a BSc and MSc in Biotechnology from Ram Niranjan Jhunjhunwala College. Meanwhile pursuing her MSc, she has completed postgraduate diploma course in clinical studies in data management, Ram Niranjan Jhunjhunwala College. She had done her dissertation on proteomics in Tata Memorial's ACTRAC, that is in Kharghar. Currently, she is associated with Positive Biosciences, Kurla, as a scientific officer. I'm sure today she would cater your inquisitive minds and provide you with a broader aspect of careers in biotechnology. So without further wait, I would like to call Ms. Fatma Islahi and start with today's session. Fatma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jassi. And
Fatima, just a minute. All the questions will be tackled at the end of the sessions. Please do not put your comments during the lecture is on. You can write it down on the piece of paper, and at the end of the session, you will post it in the chat. So we can answer those questions one by one, if that is okay with Fatima. If you want to make, that would be fine.
That is very fine with me.
Yeah, fine. So we'll have the question answer session at the end of the session. Okay? Yeah, over to you, Fatima.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and good. And thank you to our teachers and Jassi and Principal Ma'am, for everyone for giving me this opportunity to come and speak to our fellow students, to people who once, to where these people are, I was once in their place, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to help you all for your further career outlooks. So first of all, start with biotech. I would like to talk about what exactly biotech is and why is it so significant and why we are all together over here talking about it. So first of all, biotech, as we all know and we are studying, it is application of biology, and we manipulate biological system as to gain our own need or human requirements to enhance our lives. Okay, so basically biotech revolves around four major, I would say four major chunk of biotechs are there. Okay, so to answer what exactly biotechnology is, they are further divided into four types, like how you use biological systems to enhance either your medical system, your industrial applications, your agricultural system, or your marine life. So in future, you can perceive your careers in either of four fields, which are very renowned. There are other fields as well for biotechnology, but as of now, these four fields, as biotechnology itself is very new, it has come up into picture in last century, and now we are all studying and getting involved with it in this era. So as of now, only four renowned field of biotechnology has come up. Majorly, there are a lot of work going on with medical biotechnology, which is also called as red biotechnology. For industrial biotechnology also, there is a lot of application and ongoing work going on for that. As per se, for agriculture or green biotechnology in India, there is little hesitation regarding it because of genetically modification that is done to DNA to the parts of plants. So there are ethical issues certain to this. So for this, there are courses, masters and BSc in agricultural biotechnology, but as to the applicability of the course is quite less concerning with the ethical issues related to it. As of now in India, BT cotton can be cultivated, but for edible vegetables and all those stuff which are modified using biotechnology, they are not renownedly, they are not allowed to be grown or sold in the market. So that affects a little bit of green biotechnology, but over the years, maybe soon we'll overcome that also. We'll have proper guidelines as to how to use and perceive a career over there. As to blue biotechnology, marine biotechnology, it is also a blooming field and which is coming up. We'll be speaking per se about the red biotechnology, white biotechnology and blue biotechnology in this series of slides. Okay, so I'll go ahead. Okay, so in this session, I guess we have people from various backgrounds. Some people are perceiving their BScs, some are perceiving MScs. So I have designed a roadmap kind of thing which will help you identify where exactly you are and what you want in life. So that is very important as to because that will decide your career, your future. So if you have completed or you are about to complete your BSc, you will be either taking up an MSc or you are going to take up a job. If you take up a job, that is solely on your decision, and there are various factors affecting it. But for my recommendation, if you have all your financial means, I would suggest please go ahead and do your master's, because it enhances your opportunities to get a better job in later years, and it also enriches your mind as to how biotech is a vast and evolving field. For people who are very interested in research per se, they can, after MSc, they can go for PhD. Not PhD, if you have reached your saturation point, you can start with your job in some science related field that I'll talk about ahead. And if you are if you have committed to PhD, and even after PhD, you can continue your research as a postdoctorate. And after postdoctorate or after PhD, you can take up a job or something as and when you reach your saturation point or you are done with your research. And if you are still, if you still will and you are passionate about research, you can continue your research till the end of time. There is no harm in it. Okay. Now let's start with as to what, if you like from the basic, I'll start with after BSc. Like if someone has completed BSc or is about to complete BSc, so what stages of what ahead they have in their life. So I'll talk about all the perspectives that I could think about. So first is after BSc. So here I'll talk about jobs. These jobs maybe like you don't have any experience after BSc. You are just a fresher, so you may just expect something around starting with 10,000, or some people may even get paid less than 10,000 as a starter after BSc. Okay, as of jobs, I've stick to only biotech associated jobs, but you can take even other things which are not associated with science. And here after BSc or after doing biotechnology, you at least in 3 years you come up to know that this is your forte or no, you like biotech or no, or you can continue your career in this domain or no. So if you are like, you don't wish or you don't have means to continue your studies ahead, you can either become a lab assistant in a good lab, you can either take up teaching, or you can join clinical research. In clinical research per se, there is it is a type of research, but it is a huge different way of doing research. So you get a proper paid job in clinical research, and this field is quite booming. And if you are looking for good a job which pays you well, you can go ahead with clinical research. For teaching, you teaching after BSc is limited to courses which are below the level of BSc. Okay, so you cannot be teaching in colleges and all those stuff. You will be teaching younger populations such as students or other people who are willing to do their entrance exams for medical and engineering. You can help those, and you can earn your money out of it. You can be a lab assistant. Lab assistant is a broader term. I would say not a broader in the sense, lab assistants are people who help any lab, be it government, be it an animal lab, a plant lab, or any diagnostic lab where you go to get your blood checkup done. Okay, normally they require a lab assistant. Lab assistant, they get paid also well, and they have stability. Like you will have your job for quite a long time if you keep doing what you are supposed to be doing. So I'll talk about only these three, and there are other job opportunities also which I have not covered. You can explore on your own. For first, I'll start with lab assistant. So lab assistants, their basic job is to assist teacher, lecturer, and student. As you might have seen in the labs that you work in colleges, you always have a lab assistant to assist you with the apparatus, with the scientific instrument that you are going to handle for that experiment. So they help you with all those stuff. They keep everything in stock and everything ready for a particular experiment, and in long run also. Their basic ways to means to fulfill your need is to communicate with the higher authorities and get everything stocked up and ready for students and for the teachers or researchers who are working. So that is the basic job of a lab assistant. Okay, so you can get in government as well as in private labs. So one of the government lab that takes up is Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education. So this is a government job, and even in places like ATRAC, you get lab assistant job, but there the requirement is MSc. So as I've said earlier, a master degree would help you enhance your opportunities. At majority of the places, people prefer masters over bachelors. But in case if you have some financial restraints or something like that, and you want to look for a job for lab assistant at BSc level, there are opportunities. You can totally go for it. But if you have some diploma courses or any experience of hands-on on scientific instrument as to how to work with take care of pH meter, how to calibrate different instrument and all those stuff, that will be a great help if you are looking for job directly after BSc. That will be a great help to you. Okay, and if you're working in a research lab as a lab assistant, there may be an opportunity that side by side with the student, you can get to learn a lot. Besides being a lab assistant, you can also be part of research if you are inquisitive about it. If you can be, I've seen lab assistant participating in research and even getting their data published. So that is a big plus if you're working in a research laboratory, and you can be a part of other clinical diagnostic companies like Metropolis or other SRL labs. They might also take you up as lab assistant. So this is it for lab assistant after BSc. You can apply for lab assistant job even after MSc, and it depends. Like various institutes have their own eligibility criteria for taking up lab assistant. So I'll go ahead with the next. Okay, so teaching is a very wide option after BSc. So you can teach student, as I said, to coaching classes. Basically, you can teach students who are kids. Basically, you cannot teach in colleges. For if you wish or you want to teach in colleges or institute, you have to complete your MSc, and then you have to give your NET qualification or other exams for qualifying to become a professor in a college. Otherwise, except for this, you can teach anywhere where you have, and you should have a flair for teaching. You should have that thing in you that you have patience and you have communication skills to teach other person or younger children. Another job opportunity that you can look for is after BSc, if you are willing to teach in schools and international schools or something like that, you can go for B.Ed. B.Ed is compulsory for teaching in schools, so you can, after BSc, you can do a B.Ed. In some institute also provide BSc and B.Ed integrated courses, but I think everyone here has already enrolled themselves for BSc, so that is not of great use over here. But you can, if you wish to continue teaching in, if you want to teach in international schools or any school, basically, after your BSc degree, you can opt for B.Ed, and that will qualify you for a good teacher to be, who could be hired in schools. So this is it. And if you want to teach in colleges, you have to complete your MSc and you have to crack your exams, which will qualify you for professorship. This is for job perspective after BSc in teaching. Next is after BSc, getting into clinical research. This is one of the most, I would say, renowned job or for time being, because clinical research is booming in India, and most of the data management, as I don't know, majority people might, some people might know about clinical research, some people might not know about clinical research. So I would just give a glimpse of it, what it is exactly. Clinical trial, in clinical trial or clinical research, basically we take a drug which is developed in a lab, okay, and then it is studied on animals, then it is studied on human population, and after checking and approving it with the respective guidelines of the countries and everything, FDA basically. So once they are approved and they are safe and they are efficacious enough against any disease or disorder, they are marketed to general population and other people can take up. So the whole procedure of taking a drug from a lab to the patient population outside a lab or outside hospitals or something is called as clinical research. It is very lengthy procedure and it is very intensive procedure. So there are various roles. There are basically two types of jobs in clinical research. There is one ground job and there is one behind desk job. On ground jobs, you have to be in a hospital facility or the site where the clinical research is actually happening, where patients are being enrolled or something like that. You have to assist doctor, or you have to collect data from the patient or from the site, and you have to submit it to the sponsor company or to the CRO. Behind the desk job involves a lot of work of data management. Whatever data is collected from these sites, how that has to be properly managed, that has to be archived, and that has to be submitted to regulatory authorities. So all those things people are trained in those fields, and there are various population required, manforce is required uh, to do all this stuff. So here you can get an opportunity to work over here in this field. There are various, you can be a clinical research coordinator. That is like the most basic starting job for this. There are various opportunities to get into it. So once, if you're clear and you are willing to get into clinical research, this is a good domain to start your job here, and you get paid well also. So there are companies like private companies like IQVIA. There are many people from my batch who are involved in, who are part of this organization, and they are having good life. And there is another institute which is government, such as Tata Memorial Hospital, that is for cancer research. There are also a lot of clinical research people who are oriented in this domain. Also, even after BSc, if you take any job per se, you have to keep yourself on your toes. Once you commit yourself to any job, you have to keep learning and exploring yourself. You have to grow with time. There is no such thing that learning gets over. You have to be updated with what is the new trend coming into your job field. Then only there will be growth. If you be stagnant and you're not flourish, job you don't have to learn and grow, but that is not the scenario. If you want appraisals, if you want to grow ahead in the job that you have taken, I would suggest even after getting a job, you have to keep learning and you have to keep increasing your pace. So this is it for the jobs that can be taken after BSc, and these are associated with biotech. There are other job opportunities also. There may be other job opportunities that you can explore. Okay, so after BSc, first I spoke about jobs. Now, if someone is interested in doing research and education or pursuing further masters, so how will you go about it? What are the masters? Do you need to take up masters in biotechnology only, or you can go to some other field as well? So there are various. This is a big question mark, because as you go ahead in your career, you have to narrow down to point of interest. What is the thing that passionates you, that keep you on your toes? If the earlier you know that, the better for you, so you can commit to something. If you really like clinical research and you have time and opportunity or financial means to go ahead with it, I would say doing a master's in clinical research is a great thing. If you have you know more of a business mindset or management skill in you, there is and also if you have financial means, because these master courses can be quite expensive as well. So you can go for MBA in biotech, and for MSc in biotechnology. MSc in biotechnology, as biotechnology is a wide topic. It covers immunology, it covers animal plant studies, it covers IPR, it covers clinical research, and it I think it touches almost all the topics that has to be covered in science. So how biology and how technology can be clubbed in any subject, that is covered in MSc biotechnology. So if you're still not sure as to what your subject of interest is, you can go ahead with masters in biotechnology, so that you can explore or test yourself with various subjects as to which is the subject or which are the topics which gives you enthusiasm to study, or which gives you enthusiasm, or which are the experiments which keep you ahead of time, like you like doing those experiments. So these things will help you decide as to what is your subject of interest and further studies or further job that you can pursue on. So you can either do MSc in biotechnology, MSc in clinical research, MBA in biotechnology. And these are like 3 things that I came up with, that I didn't know at my, when I was at this stage after BSc to take up what. I was a bit confused and I didn't know that even these fields exist. But recently I came to know that after completing your BSc in biotechnology, you are eligible to various courses which are a subset of biotechnology. So if you wish to go ahead, or you like wildlife, or you are an explorer for forest, you can go ahead and do MSc in wildlife. And if you like sea, if you like swimming or ocean or corals and all those stuff, and pollution, how it is affecting sea animals or marine life, or what are the hidden gems of marine and all those stuff, and how marine life can help food and other issues associated with marine stuff, you can go for marine biotechnology. And if you like production, if you like working around with big machines, and if you like being around or producing things in bulk quantity, you can surely go ahead with industrial biotechnology. Okay, so I'll talk in detail about these 6 courses as to what I know. So first, about after BSc to take up biotechnology. Okay, so as I said, and I've been saying, if you have no financial restraints and you want to you like biotechnology, please go ahead and do masters in biotech. Okay, so for doing a masters, you can do your masters in India and abroad as well. Okay, so the topic of abroad comes over here because in doing for BSc covers like very basic instruments are required or labs are required, which is available in India. Okay, but for doing masters, majorly involves a lot of exposure. You need good exposure. You need good. You need to be around with or connected with good scientists for your internship, so that you get inspired to do what you wanted to do. So that kind of exposure is little dicey in India currently. However, there are labs which are good, and no doubt they provide, and there are good scientists. But as biotech is very upcoming field, that it requires a lot of new instrument and all those stuff, which is readily available in countries like US and UK. So once if you have and you have decided, and now these days loans and all those stuff are also easily available, so you can opt for doing masters abroad. But if you want to complete your masters in India, it is no harm. And if you want your quality education, that also you can get. If you clear your GATE exam and you want to be enrolled in a good, like really good university which has a good lab, like IIT Bombay or something like that, if you really wish to explore and want to touch this aspect of biotechnology, please go ahead and start giving those exams, preparing yourself for those, and you will get into good colleges. For outside India, exposure and eligibility criteria may vary from university to university and as well as from country to country. So for if you like, a lot of planning is required as to which country you want to go in and which university and what are the criteria and all those stuff. So for biotechnology is preferred if you are not yet sure and you want to give yourself more time to identify which is the field of your interest. Like if you don't know what you want to do in future, like you want to become patent officer, you want to be a part of clinical research, you want to do this, you want to do that, but like nothing is like fixed for you. So please take up MSc biotechnology and give yourself time and study, read books, and try doing internship at various institutes, so as to give yourself exposure that how you like the environment in research labs or no. Get yourself acquainted amongst a lot of people who are into the field, in this field of biotechnology, like be associated or connected to people for clinical research if you like that, or some other field which you think you like, but reading or something about it, you may come up to that is not your forte. So MSc biotechnology, our college provides that. Beside that, if you want, you can crack your exams and get into IIT Bombay, and many of the colleges in India provide MSc biotechnology. Next is, after BSc, you can go for MSc clinical research. So I spoke about clinical research earlier. So that is it. Like it gives you more hands-on understanding, and this MSc in clinical research give you exposure also to work in like clinical research or sites of clinical research. So you understand how everything works. So, and it gives you more understanding as to what exactly each phase feels like, and what are the ethical issues concerning with clinical research, what are the risk benefit ratio, what is GCP. GCP is good clinical practices, like how we have GLP, that is good lab practices, that we do cleaning, swapping our desks after doing experiment and all those. So there are some good habits or the good practices that are being followed in clinical research. So this course basically make you aware of all those things, so that once you get a job in clinical research, you know if someone is not following GCP, so you can identify those things, all those stuff, if the clinical research is not going or something is not ethical. So you can catch up that and you can report it to, in case if you work in this field, so you can understand that. So masters in clinical research help you identify all those critical things. Next is like it provides internship. Masters all the masters give you internship. So internship for clinical research is really nice. It gives you good exposure. You get into various labs and all those stuff. So it also give you, if you take up a job directly after MSc, after BSc, and if you do MSc and take up a job, so you may get a higher starting salary than what you would get for BSc. That may be a case if you show that much in your experience and all those stuff. So you can also for any MSc, and basically for clinical research, as that I know that there is an opportunity for doing an integrated MSc and PhD. And MSc in clinical research is also provided by TMC, that is Tata Memorial Center. So you can apply there, get into it, and you can get a lot of exposure there. So it's really nice. If you wish and you like to build your career in clinical research, go for it. Next is MBA in biotechnology. Like, it is one of the most questionable thing that people talk about it after BSc, but rarely people take it up. Okay, so what exactly MBA in biotechnology is? What are the career opportunities after doing MBA in biotechnology, and what skills does it give us? Is this slide is going to help us deal with that. Okay, so for biotechnology, as you know, you have biotechnology has a lot of application. You make plants for dairy, be it like dairy institutes like Pride of Cows, or breweries. There are various breweries and all those stuff. So they have big plant pharma companies which make biotechnology associated or biological products. So all those people, they need people who can manage all the production as well as marketing these products. So MBA in biotechnology help you enhance your management skills and all those stuff. It provides you skills for understanding what are the laws, what are the guidelines with respect to marketing products, and how to do deals with people who are not from scientific background, and how to talk about it. Like, it will give you an understanding of how to carry out business basically, and how to smoothen your process. Because being in science, we talk less about finances and management, but if you want your whatever scientific discovery or whatever experimentation that you bring it up, if you want to make money out of it, you need to have skills to make it profitable, how to market it, how to sell it out so that people can buy and you can gain profit out of your product that you have developed. So all those skills are given or taught in MBA. So as of now in Mumbai, DY Patil provides it, and I guess there are many other institute also. The links are provided down in the slide, so you can go to various links, and there are listed institute which will help you to find MBA and all the stuff. The only problem with MBA is quite expensive than all other courses that are available after BSc. So that is a big this thing, like a block that will come if you are not financially, like for a middle class family. It is very a huge amount to do MBA in biotechnology. But if somehow you arrange or you take a loan and all this stuff, and you are really excited about managing things, please go ahead and do MBA in biotechnology. Next is wildlife. Okay, so there are courses like MSc in wildlife you can do. So wildlife, basically you can do and perceive, but you need patience, you need commitment, because you won't be doing this kind of work sitting in your lab or in the convenience of your home. So you have to get out into the forest, and you have to stay with animals, learn their life and how and what the changes, the behavioral studies and all those stuff that can be done. Why MSc of wildlife is picking up, because due to human intervention, and pollution, lot of wildlife are at great risk of extinction. But there is less research going on in that domain. So now people somehow who have inclination towards wildlife and protecting them, they tend to get into all this stuff. So if you are inclined towards wildlife and you have that much confidence in yourself that you can commit to this kind of lifestyle, you can surely go ahead and do it. There are institutes in Uttarakhand and in Pune and all those stuff, and where you can go and totally do all these courses, and it is a good course. Like, and there is a lot of research perspective in that. Like, you can monitor how animal migration has changed due to human pollution or pollution caused by humans and all those stuff, how insects behave and what are the upcoming challenges that we have to be aware of with respect to wildlife. So if you like wildlife so much, and if you have that that craziness for wildlife, please go ahead and do wildlife MSc in wildlife. It is a great thing to perceive, but it rarely people opt for it because it is very commitment oriented. It requires lot of stuff other than studies from you. So that is a thing. But yeah, there are institute offering that these courses. If you like it, please go ahead. You can later job opportunities also revolve around forest world and all those wildlife associated land only. But this is like a totally new domain. Very few people, it existed from quite a long time, but no one offer such career fields. So you can become an entomologist or dendrologist, related to insects and all those stuff. You can study those, and that is it with the wildlife institute, Wildlife Institute of India and various others. In India, these courses are available, and we have a lot of wildlife around us in India, so you can go ahead with it. Next is marine biotechnology. Okay, so marine biotechnology is also a new field, which is like a collaborative, not collaborative, I would say. It is a totally different aspect of wildlife. Here, it is more about marine or aquatic animals, or how how these animals or fishes which live on the corals that they stay, how you can utilize them to fulfill the needs of human requirements. Of how can you provide medications or oils like fish liver, cod liver oil is there. Like, since ages, people know they are beneficial, they are enriched in omega-3 fatty acids. So like those, how can you take up the genes of those fishes or put up in some E. coli or something and grow a lot of those cod liver oil and sell it and gain benefit from it. So all those of mindset you can put into this thing in marine biotechnology. Also, a lot of remediation work is going on. As you all know, there is a lot of plastic pollution and oil spills. They have caused lot of damage to the coral reef. So a lot of research work and lot of work people are required to go and explore how much damage does it cause, the incidents have caused, and how much what ways we can deal with it. So for all those people who are required are marine biotechnologists. So that way, if you want to get yourself acquainted with such kind of exploration work, so please go ahead and join marine biotechnology. It is provided in India by institutes like AMET and Andhra University. These are in South India. So you can look for them in the links provided on this slide. Next is industrial biotechnology. As I said, as biotechnology is blooming, there are a lot of pharma companies which are coming up and manufacturing bulk quantities of biotechnological food materials or biotechnological medical or any dairy products and all those stuff, cheese and various other products. Okay. So for biotechnological products, the input materials are different. Sometimes we use waste materials as raw materials and we make something out of it. So the requirement for industrial biotechnology or biotechnological application to derive industrial output out of it, of any thing that we have developed. you need different set of people who can understand the background of it, or who can, you know, help you with the plants and everything. So any person who is skilled in this field will be required for production management, and for all the you know, cleaning and everything. You can guide and you can tell when and all this thing can be done, which pumps, which valve, where to fit and what, which will enhance your production, which will speed up your production. For so all this thing is taught in this kind of MSc. But sadly, there are no institute in India providing industrial biotechnology. So if you are interested, if you like production and if you like managing things on large scale, you can opt for MSc biotechnology abroad. There are many universities which provide this course, and this will help you, and you may seek a job there itself, or you may be absorbed in India as well. But for jobs after, you know, you get paid well abroad. That is what I have seen the trend. But in India also, there is like little meagerness in the payment, but it's okay. So this is all the scenario of after BSc. What are the MSc courses available? There is MSc in agriculture studies also available. But as I said, MSc in agriculture studies in doing in India is little bit of dicey. But still, if you like agriculture application of biotechnology, I would suggest you go ahead with that. But the thing is, there is a lot of ethical concern with that. The food materials obtained from genetically modified seeds are not consumed, or is not allowed to be consumed or grown in India. Whereas in countries like US, you can grow, you know, people can grow genetically modified soya bean and all those stuff, and they market and they gain profit out of it. So getting yourself acquainted with a course which is going to open up job opportunities for you in future is important, because you put the hard-earned money to study anything. So you, and in future also, if you want to be independent and survive on your own, you should look forward to, you know, courses which will help you be independent financially, and you can grow in that. So if there is any hindrance, or you seems to be getting hindered personally or professionally in any of the courses, like if you don't like any course, please do not do it. It will, in long run, it is not going to be helpful. Just doing it because your some friend is doing and he is doing well or she is doing well does not mean that, you know, even you will be doing well. He or she might be doing well because they did what they like and they are happy about it. So you find your forte of what makes you happy. Even if you get less paid also, you will be happy and satisfied with what the work you do. So that is the crux of professionalism. If you know, enjoy your work, you will not bother much about money. But if you don't enjoy your work, how much ever a company pays you, you will be reluctant to work for them. So let's go ahead. After BSc is done, let's see what is after MSc. So now you have, you know, enrolled yourself in some MSc course and you are done with your MSc. Now what? Like, you know, if you want to continue your research and education, if you have participated in some integrated MSc PhD course, continue with it. Okay. And if you are looking for PhD courses or enroll yourself for PhD, funding plays a crucial role. Many people are not aware like how to fund your courses. So for that, you have to give entrance exams. So this is the third point in this slide is the list of entrance exams that are very important and that you must give if you are looking for PhD and if you look for great fundings. So once you have funding and you have that GRF position available for you, then you can look for universities or labs which can take you up, or you have like-minded research people or research topic going on. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay, beside those generalized like those exams, you can give JJ bills. And if you are interested in cancer field, okay, and if you want to do a PhD in cancer research, so you can directly apply to ATRAC. So I provided you the link. Okay, so in around Jan or Feb, or the exam is held, and the topic is very general. Just the thing is, you have to study a lot about cancer biology and all those stuff, and they give you exposure as to various lab and all those stuff. Once if you clarify their exams, there is interview round and all those, and if you like, they will let yourself get acquainted with the labs and with the PIs over there. And once you understand which lab is working on what cancer, like some labs will be working on clinical research of breast cancer, some lab will be working on apoptosis, how apoptosis work and all this stuff. So you can, cancer is also a very wide field, so you can understand that and you can participate and you can complete your PhD over there. Next is, if you like to get yourself acquainted with reproductive health, okay, so you can participate over here in NIRH. These are the institute in Mumbai itself, and they provide you stay there facility also, so you can, that has to be looked forward up to. I don't know much about those, like what facilities and all those they provide, but they provide good stipend as well. So like if you are not having you cannot work and simultaneously do your PhD, so for that, like for sustenance you get your stipend. You can apply for PhD at TIFR, that is Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So for in biological sciences, if you are interested in doing in that institute, you can apply that. They also have their separate exams. For PhD abroad, you have to first decide your targeted university. You have to, depending on the country, you have to decide whether you have to give TOEFL, you have to give GRE, and they have their own respective criteria. So you have to fulfill that and like why you want to get into all those stuff. They have their own listed stuff that you need to complete or qualify, then only they will take you up. So that is it. And also for PhD, I would like to give my inputs over here is that for MSc, you get to do 6 months of internship. So if you are clear in like, if you have made your mind for doing PhD I would suggest that you take an internship in the field that you want to do your PhD, or you're thinking about doing your PhD. So it will help you, like if you work for 6 months and you get a paper published out of that, that will be a big plus. Like, any researcher will love to work with you. So if that is the thing, if you get into a lab, but it is very difficult to get a paper published within a time period of 6 months. But there are some good people who may help you and get, you might get your own publication. Even if you don't get your publication, if you get experience in that field, if you like cancer biology, so if you work some domains of in some proteins or some markers of cancer, and if you want to pursue your further PhD also in cancer, that will be of great help. Like you will know how basic research and all those stuff gets, and another plus is you will have contacts over there. For PhD, it is very important, like building contacts that will be helpful for learning, because in PhD it is less about doing research, more about learning. Unless and until you learn on your own, basically you will not be able to apply it to your research. So your research, for doing something new, you first have to understand what was already being done, and you have to do something new out of it. So that is very important for the time period from your internship to the time to your PhD or getting into PhD. That is very crucial. If you get yourself, if you are in contact with some good lab or internship, or if you continue with your internship, that will be a great help for your PhD. Next is, after MSc, if like you have reached your saturation point and like, you want to earn money. So what are the job opportunities? So I told previously, after doing MSc in clinical research or a diploma course in clinical research, you will have a better pay package. So you can apply for jobs at institute like IQVIA or some government institute like Tata Memorial Hospital or ATRAC. They also, wherever like any There are clinical research in the domains of tuberculosis also. They pay you well also because there is lot of risk associated of the person who's doing the research getting contracting TB himself or herself. So there is, but because of the risk associated, they offer you more money, substantial more money, but that is it because it involves risk. So it depends on that how you want to be in that field. Okay, you can work as a paid intern or a GRF at research lab. So if you have not qualified anything, okay, not any exam or anything, and if you are still preparing for some exams, and if you want to, don't want to leave the flow of your research, or you are about to get your paper published if you work for another 6 months or something, and if you don't have anything to do for next 6 months, then it's better you get into a research lab and do a internship for 6 months or so, and it there are high chances you might not be paid in India, but it's okay. You gain your experience. But if you're getting paid, little amount is also beneficial. So if you're getting paid for some amount, please do take GRF also if you are interested in research. You can apply for a scientific officer position at BARC. So here you have to apply in biological domains, whatever there is like a particular flow of what exams and how you are eligible for it. So for all those stuff, you have to look on those sites. You can work for scientific publication in institute like Cactus Global. They provide you work from home also. You can go in their office also and work, or you can work as a freelancer. So like there are many companies or pharma companies which do a lot of research work, but they don't have time, or researchers themselves, they don't have time to sit and write or jot down everything. So they will provide you the raw data. You have to gain information out of it and you have to make a publication. And instead of getting your name on it, you get paid for it. So that is all about working for scientific publication. If there is also brand building for scientific community. So if someone has come up with some new biological product or biotechnological product, and they want to build their brand image or something of that sort, so they tend to hire people from scientific background. So in those industry also you can get absorbed. Next is for clinical diagnostic organization. So like me, I also work for a company which is involved into clinical diagnostic, which helps cancer patients. So likewise, there is this company known as Metropolis India, and there are other diagnostic lab. Even they do a lot of analyze. They don't do research, I would say. They analyze of protein biomarkers, the number of cases that they get, stuff. They publish papers, so you can be a part of them. You can do experiments there, but the thing is you have to continuously do the repetitive thing with various number of samples. So if you like that kind of environment, then you can go for clinical diagnostic organizations. So sometimes you tend to get your paper published in that thing. The trend you are seeing of analyzing at your lab. So clinical diagnostic companies tend to do that, so that's a plus for you. Next is work for biotech oriented organization like Reliance Life Science, where they have various different departments where you can join. There is a biotech that they work in putting technological aspect, evolving pollution or all those stuff. So you look for job opportunities companies. Work in pharma domain. Okay, so for pharma marketing sales, there's a lot of sell enzymes, instruments, and all those new stuff to scientific scientists also in the research lab. So, and they get marketing is one of the domain which gets paid well, because your salary or your incentives depend on the amount of products you target or you reach in a month. So if you sell more product, you're getting more incentive. So if you are money minded, or if you like that kind of target oriented life, reaching this much goal and getting money out of it, so that will be a plus for you. And being a scientific person, you will have know-how, and you will have much better hand of being given that job rather than some non-scientific person. You can teach in educational institute, as earlier I said. You can give net exams, and you can be a part me, which likes to hire you, which may, if you qualify and you have the, along with the qualifying, you have communication. What you are teaching, people should understand that thing. That if you have fear and all those, you have, and you have to be open, and you have to have flair for teaching things and learning yourself, so that you can teach in educational institute. If you have all the, and also you can after MSc you can give, there is one exam for that is called as IPO, Indian Patent Officer exam. So that is held like once or thrice year. Like who will be completing MSc, they may be eligible if that is I guess exam is going to be held this year, so you can opt for sell and gain revenue out of it. Please collaborate and start up your own company or something like that. That will be like, instead of getting employed, you are providing employment, but there are a lot of risk associated with it. If you have all the means and confidence in yourself that you can do that, that is also a nice career opportunity to to build upon. In long run, it will be helpful. Rather than working for someone else, you will have something of your own. Okay, now we have reached the roadmap till MSc. Now, okay, you have done your PhD. Okay. If after MSc you take up a job, you commit yourself to any company or a set role of job, and you grow in that career. But what about if you take up PhD? Many times people have this notion that researchers don't get paid well. Yeah, in the start they don't get paid well, but if you are enthusiastic and passionate about your research, or you like doing research and you want to continue doing research, in long run you get paid well than any other job will. So, but you need to have that much patience and dedication to work for more than 12 hours a day maybe. And you need to have very strong mind to balance your personal and professional life, because in long run it may hamper your personal life. So all those things has to be managed. If you do so, and if your family and everyone is supportive, and you do PhD and you do postdoc, so, and if you have completed your PhD, after PhD you can apply for postdoctoral. For there you can do your research as a postdoc. After your postdoc, you can commit yourself to teaching or continue with other research projects, or you can start up with your own research group. Okay, so I've given you one example. There are many fellowships available. This is one. If you have reached you have done your PhD, and you may or may not have done your postdoc, and if you want to do your research, and you are very serious about it, and it has applicability, like it will be beneficial to humans. So there are fellowships like David Phillips Fellowship by in UK it is. Okay, so this fellowship provides you money value of up to €1 million. So €1 million accounts for almost more than 9 crores of rupees. So, and it is valid for 5 years. So in those you can use that amount of money to build your own research lab, to get your personal salary, to continue your research or what you wanted to do. You know, sometimes you are working under someone else's lab, so you don't get to do what you wanted to do. So if you have that thing and you are very strong about it and you want to do it, there are fellowship which will financially aid you, and you can pursue what you wanted to do. This is after PhD and all those stuff. But the thing is, you need to have that much dedication in yourself so that you can build upon it. That you have to show that much dedication to the people who give you such fellowship, then only you are accounted for all those stuff. Also, in long run, what happens is, even if someone is research enthusiast, their enthusiasm fade over time, because your friends and your friends sometimes tend to be doing much better in their life in various other career aspect. But the thing is that, as I said in earlier, you need to find out your core of interest, what you like and what you want to do, and what your current state of life allows you to do. Suppose if you want to achieve or you want to do MBA, but you are not financially capable of doing it, so putting yourself into more depression or anything about it, that you want to do it and you cannot do it, will not make sense out of it. Instead, you should look for the opportunities which are readily available for it, and you can make most of it. And if you try looking for what feeds your soul, like that will help you keep happy, and for in long run it will help you keep working towards the job that you have taken in hand. If otherwise you will feel the burn of it in long run, you will not enjoy, you will be stressed out of it, and all those things will happen. So that's about it. So after PhD, so these are some of the highlights that I have provided from my end. So if you have some other way that you can make your future much better, please go ahead and do it.
Thank you, Fatma.
Yeah.
Now the session is open for questions. Jasri, I think you can take the questions
Yes,
now.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you have any questions, you can please write it down in the chat box.
Urmila madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Urmila madam, can
Yeah.
I just add one thing?
Yes, ma'am. Please, please.
Yeah, it's a general advice for all the students. I would like to congratulate Fatma for the plethora of opportunities that she has opened up. But each and every student should also do a little bit of self-analysis. See, there are some courses which may look very attractive, because when she was talking about wildlife, and after that movie Three Idiots, I think students are very fascinated. So it's one thing to be fascinated and another thing to know about the ground realities, right? So having chosen biotechnology, they should concentrate more with that field, and they can also think like which are the qualities they should strengthen and how they should pursue. Because they are very niche areas. Some of these areas are very niche areas. They may look very attractive, but in terms of job opportunities, they are very limited. I just wanted to add this comment.
You can also elaborate on our clinical research course, postgraduate diploma.
Right. So this is one course where the placement is 100%. Again, it is not one of those clinical trials which you see right now with COVID-19. I am very sure many students are looking at the clinical trials, phase 1, 2, 3, etc. Now in clinical research also, there are different aspects. Because there is large amount of data which is available, you need somebody to collate all this data and then draw some information. So data management is one area where you require a lot of manpower, and it is also outsourced. Then research associate, again a niche area, like many of the hospitals where they are doing clinical trials. If you're lucky enough, you will get to work there. They will be able to get in those areas. Having said that, this is one course which has a lot of opportunity. Right now, our college has tied up with Coursera. And in that, there are many courses which are available. But for beginners, I think Tanya madam or you all can tell them to choose one which is comparatively simple. So that will give them a, what you can say, a baseline, then later on to pursue. And being a postgraduate diploma, you can also do it along with your, what you can say, post-graduation. So it becomes a value addition. Urmila madam, is Upadhyay available for you? What is that girl's name? Divya.
Who?
Divya Upadhyay?
Yeah. Divya's there. Yeah.
Is
We
she
are in
going to come? Because she
we are in
success story, huh?
Yes, ma'am. We are trying to get in touch with her. Let's see. Maybe she might be working from home, so she's
Right.
not getting
All
time.
of them are, that is another good thing. Even if there is pandemic, they are not laid off.
Yeah.
See, in fact, they have a lot of work and they are all continuing to work from home. So they also have salaries. So Divya or anybody, if you can get, then just
Yeah.
see.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. There's one more opportunity as entrepreneurship. You can come up with your own business. So that also you can.
Again, Urmila, let them do one
Yeah, ma'am.
course like negotiation skills or leadership,
Okay.
marketing.
Yes, ma'am.
See, even in entrepreneurship, if there's an entrepreneur and they could market their produce, they can even think
Yeah.
of those lines.
Yeah.
Hey, what about that boy who?
Yeah, he's going to come, ma'am. Gaurav
He's coming?
Sasani.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's there. He's there.
And there was one more who was into these processes.
रौनक करके था मशरूम कर रहा था
Karthik
Keshav.
See,
Karthik
Karthik is
Keshav
a very
also we
good
are-
example when you are
Yes.
not among the top lines, but you know,
Yeah.
if you have those skill sets and you're ready
Mhm.
to accept the challenges, you can be successful. Karthik is a good example.
Yeah, I had contacted him. He said, "Let me see, ma'am, my schedule. I'll get back to you."
Okay, good. Fatma, so what are you doing right now?
Ma'am, I'm currently with the same organization.
Okay, you're working from home?
Yeah, I'm working from home.
Okay. Okay, then students, if you all have questions, feel free to ask to our star.
Ma'am, there are questions. Fatma, the first question is, what about government jobs for biotech students?
Hey,
Okay.
before she can ask, forget government jobs. Government is trying to promote be your own job maker. Don't be
Make
a
in India.
seeker. Yeah.
As for government jobs, you can get yourself acquainted with the institutes like BARC as scientific officer, or you can get into research, which will provide all those stuff in government institute, and you can get job as lab assistant in government labs, like I said previously.
Urmila, I can leave. I have another webinar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Yeah,
so
and
much, ma'am.
thank you very much, darling
you.
students. Take care, and the entire
Thank you,
biotech
ma'am.
department really rocks. And
Thank you, ma'am.
Fatma, all the best.
Thank
all
you,
of
ma'am.
you stay safe, stay healthy, think positive. Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
inviting me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
With respect to government jobs, I think even yesterday, Tejas has given you all examples with respect to patent agents. That is a government job. So in case if you are planning for government job, one of the option for biotech students is patent agent also.
Okay. Fatma, there is another question. It is, what are the bio startups we can implement and get license for it?
What are the bio startups that you can do?
Yes.
Do a bio startup, like the company that I am associated with, it is also a bio startup. Okay, so they had their own panels doing NGS. They have labs where the samples are being sequenced on NGS, and that is how they earn money out of it. They take clinical sample, do sequencing, give out the report based on the genetic makeup. So if you have any idea to integrate the things which are already marketed, if you don't have anything of your own, like if you have not innovated anything, but if you can put what is already there in the market, and you can sell and sell something out of it. Like my company, they sell those tests and they earn money out of it. They use simple panels and few genes on it, and that is how they earn their revenue. So if you have that mindset of putting some test or some experiment or something, or some tools that can be out of which you can earn money, or you can put it into clinical diagnostics or any of the medical healthcare or any other domains or something, surely you will get license for it. And the procedure for licensing, I am not aware of it. You have to get into touch with person who is specialized in that thing, but that is the main criteria for doing a startup.
Okay.
For any kind of a license, in case if you're into a business and you want to look out for license, there is a protocol. You have to meet with all the requirements, because there is a prerequisites. Like say for example, you are opening up a lab, right? Then with respect to the lab, the location, the precautionary measures, all those things. You can also come up with a medical lab, pathological lab. Okay,
Yeah.
if you have a background of medical lab technology, you can do a diploma course for a year, and you can get a PG diploma with respect to medical lab technology, and you can also come up with a pathological lab. So, but for that, you need to have a list of prerequisites, which are do's and don'ts. And once you have met with all those requirements, then the government or the municipality gives you or issues you the proper license. So water connection, safety measures, with respect to laboratory, the discarding, the manuals, the SOPs, all those things have to be in place. And you've got to be trained in that first.
I guess, ma'am, also the number of people that you
Yes.
employ
Yes,
in
yes.
your startup also matters.
Yes. And what are their qualification? Which people you all are employing? All those things. See, there are rules and regulations for any business which you come up. Even if you're coming up with a brewery, okay, for that also you need to have a land, you need to have a setup, you need to have proper know-how about the industry, proper people who can guide you, and then you go in for licensing. So there is a proper setup which is there, and the governing agency then issues you with a proper license.
Okay, there is another question. It is, can we pursue MSc in food technology after completing BSc in biotech? If yes, for which entrance exam should we prepare?
MSc in food technology.
Food technology after completing BSc in biotech. If yes, for which entrance exam should we prepare?
Okay, I am not aware of MSc in food technology, but I guess there are some entrance exams to be given to get into courses of those, to understand the nutritive and all those courses. But
technology course is there in UD City,
DY
MUI
Patil.
City, and they have an entrance exam every year. So you will have to check their site for the eligibility criteria. But definitely BSc Biotech students are eligible for writing that exam.
Also, DY Patil gives food technology, MSc in food technology ka course. So even you can check out at their website. They also have certain entrance exams, their own entrance exams, because they are a deemed university right now.
There is the best of food technology is at Mysore, CFTRI.
Yes.
I think they have their entrances there. You can look out on the website, and they have their MSc degree in food technology. And I think there's one more at Andheri, because one of our students, VT karke naam tha, she had done it from there. I'll just find out and pass on the information to you once I get.
There is another question, Fatma. What can we prefer? Integrated MSc PhD or plain MSc and PhD? Which one is preferable?
I would, as per my views, I would say integrated MSc PhD is more preferable, because cracking exams and there is a lot of diciness or uncertainty, I would say. If you take MSc, if you qualify some exam and you get into MSc, and instead of taking an integrated course, you just opt out for MSc, and supposedly if you didn't do well, or due to some instances you are not able to perform well in your exam, and you are not able to get crack your PhD entrance exams, then you will be in hotspots. You may lose your time or something. But if you take an integrated course, you are, and if you somehow qualify with low marks also in your MSc, but and somehow meet the average scores for getting a PhD in an integrated course. In an integrated course also, you have to give your exams, and you have to get study and all those stuff. But there is no thing like you have to give your exams again and again. So like once you get into, you are committed to one course, and you did not bother about like after 2 years I have to shift or shuffle or something like that. You are like secured for that much, and you are bound to get your PhD by the end of putting your hard work for those years. So I would suggest, in my view, it is better if you opt for integrated MSc PhD.
There is another question. Are there any jobs for animal technicians or animal care after BSc or MSc? And which institutes provide those jobs?
Animal technicians.
They are animal handlers basically. In any research institute, when we go, then there are certain animal handlers. They are asking about that, the people who
Okay.
work in animal houses.
As per how much I know, I am not aware of any courses. But yeah, if you not beside being part of course, if you are interested in animal studies, you get you get a job or internship, basically internship in a lab which deals with animal related studies. So once you get into such lab and you have experience as to, they will train you how to handle animal, how to take all the precautionary measures while handling animals. So that will also qualify you for becoming a part of that industry. That experience itself will help you more than any course, I would say, because I know a friend of mine, she was interested in all this stuff in animal related study, and she got into preclinical lab, and that is how she is now into research of animal related studies.
The institutes like Hafkin, etc., they have some summer training courses which also include these animal handlings or maybe animal tissue culture. So they give you a little bit hands-on experience in say 3 weeks or 4 weeks time. So even if there is not a full-fledged course as such, but you can definitely enroll for these short-term courses, so that can be an added advantage for you, and that your CV can have a little bit of weightage.
So I would like to add, there are animal houses at certain institutes like ACTREC. Then there is one in Ruya College. I think one is there in Ruparel College. So these colleges also have their animal handling personnel. And if you approach them, they will definitely help those who are really interested. So you will have to approach. You will have to do some background research. Go there personally, get in touch with them, pursue them, and if they think that you're really interested, they will take and train you.
So, ma'am, in NIRRH, there is an animal housing facility where they give training to people who are really interested, as you said, but again, they will have to approach first.
Yes, true.
Okay. There is another question. After masters, can anyone enter in regulatory affairs? If yes, then what is the procedure?
Yeah, you can definitely go for regulatory affairs. There are online courses also. Even if you don't do online courses or any, there are diploma courses also, like we have for diploma in clinical research, some dedicated courses for regulatory affairs. If you do little study on your own about what regulatory affairs are, by free means, that is also enough. You can look for then jobs for regulatory affairs. The interview basically is filled with questions regarding guidelines, regarding FDA, regarding various application and all those stuff. If you clear all those, if all the doubts and everything, you will be taken up by the recruiter for that job. So basically, you are very eligible after MSc itself for regulatory affairs job.
Okay, there is a dicey question. The question is, MBA in biotechnology is better or MBA in finance management?
That's pure interest.
These two different fields. I mean, MBA biotech and MBA finance is completely different.
Yes.
Exactly.
How you are interested in the subject, then that is the call actually you should take, because finance people will deal with something different like funding of the project. So analysis of the project can be done by a biotechnologist because they have a scientific background, and you can think of funding or not funding, so on and so forth. But then MBA in biotechnology has a completely different aspect. So if you are interested in finance, then obviously finance gives you more money. But if you are interested in keeping in touch with the subject, then MBA biotech you should do.
There is another question. What are the scopes of biotechnology industrial training project conducted by Department of Biotechnology, that is of Indian government?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Scopes of biotechnology industrial training project conducted by Department of Biotechnology, that's DBT.
Okay, DBT courses.
Yeah, regarding industrial training project.
Yeah, they are beneficial, but if you like those things, basically the deal with any courses, you get acquainted with the people in that field. So once a course is done, you need to be strong enough to develop contact with people in that field who are teaching you or who are training you for that course. So if you once you get into that field of that industrial application of courses, and if you have contact, they will definitely help you or guide you as to what jobs and how to find jobs after it. So that is the way you will look for job in any of the course or after doing any of thing.
Also, I would like to add in this point is that today India is looking after this pandemic situation. Today, India will be sorting after production more than providing service. So, whenever we are talking about training projects in India, now the production aspect of India will increase way more. So that is also wherein you can go on with companies who are actually into the productivity sector and the production sector. So you can also sort after those companies. And yes,
So
DBT
as
provides projects.
also, as you raise the topic of pandemic, there in future, as the pandemic situation has come up, okay, in future there may be job opportunities as a epidemiologist, as a immunologist, more in demand after this COVID-19 subside, because the government or any of the places or any city will not entertain this kind of outbreak anymore. They will want to control anything beforehand. So they will appoint people who can look after situation or control such situation at earlier phases. So there may be newer job opportunity that may be coming up that you have to keep looking for in government as well as private sectors, like in airports or something like that. Because I hope that there may be and their scientific people will be required. So one can look for those opportunities as well, or courses in that might help.
There is one more
I would like
question.
to add one thing. See, whenever you're thinking about MSc biotechnology, you will be only competing with the students who are currently studying biotech. But when you are applying for different biotech fields, you will be competing with all of them, like BSc zoology, botany, chemistry, all of them. So what is my advice is, first you should think what your interest lies in, where is your interest, and then are you really preparing yourself to give such kinds of entrance exams, or you are only thinking that some other friend is doing, or it is only looking like a lucrative field, so I should jump into it. So all that, whatever that strength weakness analysis of yourself, that you have to do first. Secondly, you have to talk to your parents regarding the financial situation, because everything looks very simple, but at the end of the day, when you go into it, it becomes very difficult when it comes to money. So everybody has to talk with their parents, see to it that your financial situation is proper so that you're jumping into that field. And thirdly, if you're taking up that particular field for some years, if you do not do well, you should not get demotivated. You should not compare yourself with somebody else who is doing better than you. So if you have taken up then everything, that is a pro and a con of everything, you have to accept it is as it is. So if you are very much sure about anything, then only jump into it. Otherwise, take some time in this lockdown or maybe another 6 months, and then fix your brain and then jump into whatever you want. That is what is my advice is.
Okay. There is one more question. Which are the institutes offering careers in animal biotech? ATC. That's what the question is.
Which are the institute offering?
At carers, offering carers in animal biotechnology.
Institute offering in
Yeah.
animal biotechnology.
There are various institutes, like there's University of Hyderabad, there's JNU, there's Osmania University, National Dairy Institute. So usually these are in cities other than Mumbai. These are the institutes that will provide you with the proper ATC or animal biotech course, along with animal handling as well,
Okay.
so that you can enter into the preclinical aspect of the clinical trials.
Okay. Also, someone has asked me that should I do MSc in clinical research or a postgraduate diploma, which would be more job oriented? Okay, if you are more job oriented person, you want to take up a job right away after BSc, or if your situation demands so take up a job and side by side continue with your postgraduate diploma course in clinical research. But if you have time, if you don't have time constraint or any financial constraint, it is better if you opt for MSc in clinical research and take up a job after your MSc, and then you can opt for postgraduate diploma course anytime of your job profile whenever you get an opportunity, because it is a flexible course, so you will be able to do both. So I hope that is answered.
There is something that I would like to add in this. There is an institute called as TIFR. I hope everybody might be knowing about it, right? So they provide MSc in clinical research, and along with that, there is certain exams that you'll have to pass. There are certain exams that you'll have to pass, and you get stipend for studying for those 2 years. Because TIFR, people who usually enroll into that MSc clinical research course, they also side by side work, and that's how they get both things. That is, they get educated also, they get exposed also. So that proves way more beneficial, and they can directly get into semi-government sectors of clinical trials. So that is far more, fetched. But again, you'll have to prepare for their personal entrance exams. They have their own entrance exams for entering into that institute. Okay, can I go for it after my MSc in biotech? The person who asked about animal biotechnology, he asked, can I go for it after my MSc in biotech?
Yeah, surely you can go for it after your MSc in biotech. If you are interested, you can go to do any of your courses anytime. There is no restraint until and unless you are eligible for it.
Yeah.
If it requires eligibility after MSc, then you can join it after MSc. If you are eligible after BSc itself and you are interested, do it after BSc itself.
Okay. Are there any other questions? For now, there are no questions, Suchita ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jassi. Thank you, Fatima. It's been good to see you all. You all are safe. I'm happy about it. And so are the other kids. I hope you all have enjoyed, and most of your doubts related to your career has been solved by Fatima. In case if there are anything in future, you can obviously keep in touch. Let us know. We can forward it to her and get back to you again. All right. So for today, I think we'll log out and we'll now meet on Monday. I think there's a different timing on Monday. We'll let you know as we finalize along the time. Fine? Chalo. Be safe and be positive. Bye, Fatima. Bye,
Bye,
Jassi.
ma'am. Thank
Bye,
you,
Shruti,
everyone.
Tanya. Bye, bye, chalo.
Bye, Fatima. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaspi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye. Ma'am.
Bye.